They have no authority to take our property and give it to Foxconn, no matter how much they offer to pay me.
Your campaign slogan should be, same policies, less crazy.
Trade talks between the U.S. and China resumed in Washington today. And until last weekend, they looked like they just involved some fine print. Now, they're about saving a deal. After China revised terms of the deal the U.S. had assumed were a lock, President Trump said today's talks will be the deciding factor as to whether he goes through with a threat to raise tariffs on $200 billion in Chinese goods at midnight tonight. Pope Francis issued the first global rules requiring all Catholic priests and nuns to report and investigate sexual abuse to church authorities, but not to police, and making those who don't comply subject to investigation. The so-called church law gives every diocese a year to create a system for confidentially reporting abuse and cover-ups. For the first time, the U.S. has seized a North Korean ship for allegedly violating sanctions. Federal prosecutors say the cargo vessel, named Wise Honest, was exporting North Korean coal and importing heavy machinery, and that 3 American banks were unwittingly processing payments for its equipment and maintenance. Paris police say lead levels on the ground near the Notre Dame Cathedral are as much as 65 times higher than the recommended limit. An environmental group has warned that the fire melted down around 300 tons of lead. After 7 months in print, and with 46 million bills in circulation, the newest version of Australia's $50 note was found to have a spelling error. There's a reason it took so long to spot. It's next to the portrait, in the microprint, where the word responsibility is missing an I.
Security forces loyal to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro tightened the noose on the opposition last night, arresting Edgar Zambrano, the vice president of the National Assembly, which is controlled by self-appointed President Juan Guaido. But even as Maduro moves against the opposition in Caracas, the opposition is moving against Maduro in Washington.
Stop appropriating our fight! My struggle! My building! My right!
In late April, the Venezuelan embassy was taken over by the American lefty activist group Code Pink. When Guaido launched his uprising, Venezuelan supporters flocked to the embassy to pressure Code Pink to get out. This fight doesn't decide who runs Venezuela, but the symbolism is powerful.
You don't get to appropriate the Venezuelan fight! You don't get to tell Venezuelans how to run their country!
I am Gustavo Tarre. I am the Venezuelan government's ambassador to the OAS.
And which Venezuelan government's ambassador?
The good one.
Do you think this fight matters to the people in Venezuela right now?
Absolutely not.
No?
No, very little, very little.
So if this doesn't matter much to the people of Venezuela, why are you here?
Because it's our building. That's our building. And there is absolutely no reason, nor legal, political, or moral, that these people to be here.
Then why hasn't the U.S. government kicked them out?
Ask them.
The State Department told us that Guaido's government has legal authority over the embassy, and that any unauthorized individuals inside are trespassers. On January 23rd, the Trump administration recognized Guaido as Venezuela's president, and soon after canceled the visas of diplomats from Maduro's government. On their way out, Maduro's people invited in Medea Benjamin and Code Pink.
We thought that if they took over this embassy, then Maduro would take over the U.S. embassy. The U.S. embassy would call that an act of war and would invade. We're trying to stop a war here. And then these people here were ready to come march in and take over the embassy. And so they brought people in. And ever since then, it's been vicious, it's been aggressive.
What are you doing? Don't push this! Do not push!
They've blocked all the doors to the embassy, so we can't even get food up to the people.
I mean, are you prepared to hold it indefinitely?
Yes.
And so are you supportive of the Maduro government?
I'm not supportive of any government. I'm here for the Venezuelan people on all sides. They always think the way to change things is, maybe the U.S. will come in and make things right. No, that's not what happens.
Who actually has the right to the embassy is a question tangled in American, Venezuelan, and international law. The U.S. government is legally required to secure the embassy for the Venezuelan government, which it says is Guaido's. But Maduro still effectively controls Venezuela and could retaliate. Both groups say they won't quit till the other side leaves. And last night, Guaido's supporters successfully got the power shut off inside. Robert Nasser says the Venezuelans are only loosely organized, but he's one of the de facto leaders.
Is the goal to make them so uncomfortable they just leave?
We know they're going to leave. They are here illegally, that they're invading our territory, and that they shouldn't be here. Our mission is to simply protest here and to make life difficult for Code Pink or anybody who wants to come here and support them.
You're gonna annoy them.
We're going to do whatever it takes.
Activists fight their battles through images on social media. The Venezuelans portrayed Code Pink as middle-aged white colonizers. Code Pink portrayed the Venezuelans as a mob of fascists. But Code Pink are pros.
A few days ago, we started noticing these people have been getting information, private information about our lives, and putting it out there as a means of, I guess, scaring us. It's becoming a little, sketchy at this point. Creepy.
Do you think, in a way, Code Pink might have brought more attention to the suffering of people in Venezuela?
I don't know, because they've been having parties in the embassy. I don't really think they're spending their time talking to Congress people.
We tried to get inside, but the activists upstairs wouldn't let us in, saying we were the hipster media arm of the empire.
I really feel like these people have a savior complex. They think that they're gonna come here and protect us from Uncle Sam. I'd like to protect myself. We really don't need Code Pink, or anyone else for that matter, to solve our problems.
History isn't brimming with successful hunger strikes. But even by the standards of the world's most desperate act of protest, Imam Cis is in pretty desperate straits.
I started a hunger strike on 17th of December in 2018. As a Kurd who lives in Europe, we don't have any recognition.
Cis is a Kurdish refugee, and his hoodie shows the man he's striking for. Abdullah Öcalan founded the PKK, a powerful Kurdish group fighting to create its own state. The US, the EU, and Turkey see it as a terrorist organization. And Turkey's held Öcalan in prison for 20 years.
So I don't want any treatment from the doctors, even if my heart stopped or I lost my consciousness, So this is guaranteed by this letter. So if handle it, they have no right to treat me.
Cis is on day 144 of his strike. It's not going to end Öcalan's imprisonment, but it is having an impact, mostly on those who care about Cis.
I already lost 20 kilos, so yes, hard for my friends, some of my family members. They worry about me, but they understand, they support the struggle. They are organizing the marches, demonstrations. So this is not only my struggle, this is the collective social struggle. So nobody really sad about me.
I don't agree with the hunger strike personally.
Welat Ravin is one of a dozen giving Cis round-the-clock care.
Imam has changed a lot since he started his hunger strikes. Like when we see him, we do our best to pretend like everything goes on normally. You can see your friend is melting in front of your eyes. So how I prepare Imam's breakfast, that's what he called for the vitamins. He has a vitamin he take every single day in the morning time. Also, he has a lemonade.
Last week, Öcalan's lawyers were allowed to visit him. But that's one meeting in 7 years. And 810 appeals. Not enough to provide any real hope for Öcalan. And not enough for Cis to end his hunger strike.
If he die, I don't even want to think about it because didn't start this hunger strike just to die, to give his death. He started this hunger strike to get his result. But, of course, there is another option at the end.
For me, life will be free or won't be life for me. I'm doing this hunger strike to feel free again.
A major announcement creates buzz from the White House to Wisconsin.
This is a great day for American manufacturing.
These panels will be made in America, proudly in the state of Wisconsin.
2 years ago, a Taiwanese tech giant announced an initiative Trump could get behind.
Moments ago, we broke ground on a plant that will provide jobs for much more than 13,000 Wisconsin workers.
Foxconn, best known for making iPhones and having to install nets to stop factory workers from killing themselves, said it was bringing a tech hub to Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
I think we can say the eighth wonder of the world. This is the eighth wonder of the world.
The county rushed to convince 78 homeowners to sell, in some cases under the threat of eminent domain, the government's power to seize private property for public use.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Everyone gave in, except Kim Mahoney.
They want this to be a Midwest electronics manufacturing hub. We bought this property 9 years ago. It was the perfect location. So this is the master bedroom. This is the bath.
So, this is brand new.
So I picked up the flooring and the tile and the countertops and the light fixtures and the paint and everything. That was their first.
Kim Mahoney and her husband spent a lot of time and a lot of money building their dream house.
This is what we call the entertainment area, and it's, just the bar.
Drink Mickey's?
Well, for St. Patrick's, they...
Oh, because the last name is what?
Mahoney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She was at work when she learned her house was in the middle of Area 1, what would be a factory for LCD screens.
Is this like malt liquor?
And soon, the county would be at her door, asking her to move.
Well, that's good.
I'd say the biggest thing I was offended at is that they just assumed people were going to be stupid and ignorant and just roll over.
But they did.
They did, except for us. They hire these fancy lawyers who specialize in eminent domain, and they go around threatening to take your home under eminent domain, even if they don't have the right to.
And this is whom now that's threatening?
It's really the village of Mount Pleasant, but it is Foxconn demanding that they get the property for free. And so the village agreed. So this is a box of all of the documents I've collected.
Oh, dear. You have a little bit of paperwork here.
Yeah, I'll know it exactly when I see it. There's another binder in here. Maybe it's in here.
So this is, you have the letter from Paul Ryan here. This is actually, you've gone up the chain.
I actually started there. I had read that he was a big supporter of private property rights. So I, asked for his help. And this was the response I got.
Yeah, I'm unable to provide you with the assistance you need, and this issue is one that falls into the primary jurisdiction of the state of Wisconsin.
Mount Pleasant and the whole state of Wisconsin had been desperate to bring back manufacturing jobs. So desperate, they utilized eminent domain. But she says that under Wisconsin state law, her property doesn't meet the required conditions to be taken by eminent domain.
they have no authority to take our property and give it to Foxconn, no matter how much they offer to pay me.
So you're telling me that a Taiwanese company doesn't have the right to take your property?
No. That's what I'm telling you.
What madness is this? What's more maddening is that so far, they haven't really built anything. What the hell is going on here? Foxconn's only spent 1% of the $10 billion it promised.
Hi, can I ask you a question? Is anyone working in this building?
No.
So there's nobody working in this building?
No.
This is the Foxconn building, right?
I don't know if I'm allowed to answer questions or not.
Okay, but if I looked it up on the internet, it would tell me it's the Foxconn building, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay.
Trump's no longer using the deal as a talking point. He didn't even mention Foxconn at his last Wisconsin rally.
Thank you, Wisconsin. Thank you.
Foxconn didn't respond to requests for comment, but the village of Mount Pleasant says it worked, quote, diligently with the Mahoneys, offering them a fair market rate and saying that eminent domain is part of their, quote, standard acquisition process. The family may have won their property battle, but it's a Pyrrhic victory. They now live like characters in a lost Orwell novel, isolated in the middle of Area 1.
When you look out your window, you don't want to live here, do you?
No.
There's nobody around.
We won, and they can't take our property, and we don't have to accept whatever they're offering. But now we're left here.
Look like Rocky Balboa after round 15.
Yep. This is happening.
Looking good.
Welcome to Anthony Scaramucci's Return to Credibility.
All right, let's go. You ready, guys? Hey, morning. Good morning. All right, forget about what we're going to say. How's the hair and makeup look? I mean, that's the most important.
I think you look great.
It's fine?
I think you look amazing.
All right?
Yeah.
I
try to get my hair to do what your hair
does.
does.
Do I need more bronzer, or am I okay?
No, I think you look fine.
All right, I'm just checking with you. I think you can tell me the truth, right?
No, I think you look great.
This is the 10th Skybridge Alternatives Conference, known as SALT, named for Scaramucci's investment company, Skybridge Capital. It was once on its way to being the Davos of the desert, but last year's conference didn't happen. The Mooch was otherwise occupied with the fallout from his 2017 11-day stint in the White House.
I don't want to waste his time and sit in the Oval Office unnecessarily. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, it was fun, right?
The Mooch took leave of Washington and went back to the world of finance, where it appears he was welcomed with open arms. SALT is supposed to bring top names from politics and top names from finance together to talk things out. The last one, in 2017, had Joe Biden on the speaker's list. He didn't make it this year.
Well, I invited a lot of the Democrats. The only person that is coming is Tulsi Gabbard. Well, I think it's very cool of her, and I think it's very authentic and non-conventional.
What happened to the other ones? Did they say no?
We invited almost all of them.
The big-name politicos who did show up were guys who were famous for being fired from Trump world, just like Scaramucci. Former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, the man who fired the Mooch, was this year's guest of honor.
You think the president's a stable genius?
I mean, I wouldn't pass judgment on either one of those. I mean, he's a smart guy.
Jeff Sessions and Chris Christie appeared together, where they tag-teamed a vigorous defense of the president who fired them.
He is a salesman. He is at core a salesman who uses hyperbole to try to convince people of his position.
Instead of just saying, it's not true, I didn't do anything wrong, he says it's a hoax. But that's his language, and we've all gotten used to it by now, I think.
Kinda.
But that didn't keep away Democrats, like former Obama advisor Susan Rice and repeat conference attendee Valerie Jarrett.
I actually would give this advice to any president. Be truthful. Earn the respect of the people that you're there to represent. And remember that you are there not in service of yourself, but in service of the American people.
The star power at SALT is down a bit. The Mooch used to get former heads of state and celebrities like Will Smith, but it's still an impressive roster. Besides, the real power here is not on stage.
I'm not interested in Jeff Sessions or Chris Christie. I'm interested in the 2,000 hedge fund managers that probably control 75% of the capital in the world.
How does Anthony Scaramucci draw these people?
Do you know Anthony?
I have hung out with him today.
Okay, then you know the power of his personality. He could be mad at John Kelly if he wanted to be. The reality is, General Kelly being here is a big plus. So is Chris Christie, so are people that he both likes and has had challenges with, and that's part of his strength. No permanent enemies, no grudges.
Not holding a grudge is the unofficial theme of SALT 2019.
Chris Christie, John Kelly, Jeff Sessions, you.
Nikki Haley.
Four guys
Yep.
fired by Trump who take the stage here to defend Trump. Why do you do it?
Because it's politics. You know, we're like FBLs. We're fired but loyal. I'm not going to break ranks with the president over getting fired. It's politics. Let me ask you this, okay? You're the wide receiver. You're coming across the secondary. The Tom Brady throws you the pass. You go to catch the pass. You get hit in the head. You fumble the pass. You got a concussion. You hate Tom Brady? That's not how it works.
In America, guys like Scaramucci, with connections and money, they never really go away. They can find a way back. The Mooch can be the Mooch again.
What do you want to happen in the country? Like, what's the takeaway from this thing for you?
You know, my issues with the president are not what he's doing. He's got some very, very good policies actually working for average people. My issue with the president is how he's doing it. It's not what he's doing, it's how he's doing it. And what I would say to the president, your campaign slogan should be same policies, less crazy. I mean,
is that the message coming out of this? Do you think that that's being sent to the president from here?
That's my message.
But isn't one of the messages also Anthony Scaramucci matters?
You think I matter, man? Let me tell you something, okay? Don't forget this. Mel Brooks had the best line ever. Relax. None of us are getting out of here alive, okay? You think that people are gonna remember these people? They're not gonna remember Donald Trump. There's one person that people are gonna remember from our era. They're gonna remember one person. Who's that person?
Tell me.
Neil Armstrong. He landed on the moon, man. Everybody else is like, who cares?